Welcome to Divorce and Relationships Decoded, the show that takes the guesswork out of love, loss, and everything in between. Hosted by me, Jennifer Perri, a CDC-certified divorce and empowerment coach, and Dr. Deborah Wilder, a divorce and relationship expert. This is the place where real conversations meet expert advice. So get ready to decode divorce and relationships like never before. Divorce and Relationships Decoded starts now. Hello, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Divorce and Relationships Decoded. I am one of your hosts, Jennifer Perri. I am a CDC certified divorce and empowerment coach, and I am joined by my dear friend, Dr. Deborah Wilder, who is a divorce and relationship specialist and also a specialist in narcissistic abuse. Hello, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's very nice to see you again. It's been a while.
It has been a while. I have been sick as a dog. I was out of the country. Sick as a dog, but it is so good to see your face. And it is so good to be back here with everyone. I know we took a little bit of a hiatus while I was traveling and recovering, but it is really good to see you again. And today we are going to talk about resilience in relationships. Mm-hmm. And if you are someone that follows me, I talk about resilience a lot. I think it's probably my superpower, at least the one that I lean into as much as possible, as being resilient in my life. But I know we want to talk really about what does it mean to find resilience and be resilient in relationships. And we're going to also change up the segments a little bit as we continue to educate and have conversations with you, because we want you to be able to have takeaways. We want you to be able to leave our conversations and start really applying them in your lives. Conversations we have are always great. We love talking to each other. We love educating people and being here to support you. But we also want to give you tools and understanding of the things that we really think could help your relationships and help you moving forward, just even being better people and better partners. I have my trusty notes over here. Before we get started, Dr. Wilder, though, one of the things I want to ask you is, why do you think building resiliency and being resilient in a relationship is important?
I think being able to have resilience in relationships or just life in general, it allows life to keep going on and you don't have to get stuck or remain stuck in a bad place. Resilience really is the ability to adapt to a difficult situation, to stress or trauma or any difficult kind of situation, rather than, and that doesn't mean you have to bounce back like right off the bat, but it's the ability to bounce back. And maybe I was just thinking about, like, just now, when I was growing up, we had these toys called Weebles. And do you remember?
The Weeble wobbles and they don't fall down?
Yes. So that's the toy representation of a Weeble, of resilience, that the ability to fall down, but get yourself back up at least to a place where you can keep moving forward. That's so many bad things happen. We know that in the world, large and small, and to be able to come back from that and get back on your feet and adapt to situations. So I think it's a survival. It's great for survival. Those people who aren't resilient or who aren't really able to adapt, their quality of life isn't quite what it could be. So it certainly makes a difference all across the board in relationships or otherwise. But certainly in relationships, if you've got one person who doesn't know, who really is not very strong in resilience, it could certainly affect the relationship in a negative way. Or even if you're going through divorce personally, to be able to be resilient, it makes a huge difference in quality of life.
Oh, it does. And I honestly think that you could fall as many times as you need to, as many times. I have, I'm sure there's areas you have too. It's all about getting up, getting up. If you get up every time. I've had a lot of stuff that's happened in my life in the past 4 years. And if I chose to just stay down, I would be doing myself a disservice, and I would be doing the people that I'm called to help a disservice, my family too. So it's okay if you stumble. It's okay if you fall. You got to get back up. Yeah. And one of the first things that you had brought to my attention to talking about really is about regulating your nervous system. And I want to throw that back over to you and give me some, what your perspective is on that and how people can really start to apply that in their relationships.
Well, our nervous system, when bad things happen or we get stressed out, we go into sort of survival mode. Some of us do it more deeply. Others, it's a surface thing, but that's where you get to that fight, flight, freeze, or fawn thing. But usually if there's something stressful or traumatic, our bodies are built for survival. So we usually go into the fight or flight. And that can dysregulate our nervous system. So being able to calm our nervous system makes a big difference. You can do that with all sorts of ways. I'm a big believer in deep breathing, meditation. There are all sorts of types of meditation. Some I prefer, some I don't prefer because they may work better for other people, not for me necessarily, but different types of ways to calm the nervous system. But what it does in a relationship, again, it allows that ability to maybe see through the stress or see beyond the stress and get to a place where you can deal with what stressed you out in the first place. But if you stay stuck in that emotional dysregulation, it's really hard to see past that because you're stuck perhaps in survival mode, and it's hard to get into the reason state of mind. So that is very important in relationships. So if you're talking with your partner, you're not necessarily maybe in fight mode or flight mode, that you can actually have a conversation once you calm down inside a little. That doesn't mean you have to be fully calm and all of that, but just to a place where you can have a discussion. That makes a big difference. What do you think?
Oh, I've learned more about my nervous system in the past 4 years than I think I ever wanted to learn. I mean, that's what GBS affected. It just wiped out my nervous system, and I've learned a lot about it, and really about how stress really does manifest into your nervous system and how it affects your health.
Yeah.
And that was something you hear about, but when you physically see it, now if I get stressed, my body reacts in a way that I wasn't aware of before.
Yeah.
And I think I could see how if you just can't regulate your nervous system and you are just go, 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 and you're coming at somebody, you can't have conversations. You can't bring it down and bring the level down and talk through the things. And I think it's so important. I am more of a fight than I am a flight person. And my husband's more of a flight person than he is a fight person. And we don't really fight about anything. But if we have conversations, sometimes and they're a little bit harder conversations. I'm more of somebody who is, let's unpack this, get to the bottom of it. Let's talk through it, where it could be where he's more geared towards backing off a little bit more. We compromise and respect each other and get to a point where we can have conversations about it where we both feel comfortable. But having the experience I've had personally about your nervous system and how it really does control your body and your reaction to things was very eye-opening for me. And I do a lot of breathing exercises and try to get myself grounded before I have meetings with clients or even go into things like doctor's appointments and things like that. So I think regulating your nervous system is a huge thing to do in relationships. Next thing I want to talk about is celebrating small wins.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that I talk about a lot because it's really easy to celebrate. I got a raise or got a promotion or got married, big milestone things. And a lot of times people forget that all these little micro wins really come together for big achievement. When you're looking at relationships and you're thinking about celebrating small wins, what does that look like to you?
A small win in a relationship could be something like being able to spend time together, connect in the busy worlds that we live in, to find 30 minutes to sit together and connect. A small win might be folding the laundry together. A small win might be...
And actually putting it away the same day that you fold it.
That might be asking a bit much for that. That's a big win. No,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. Small win and a big win, but yes, putting it away is something that's important too. And even doing it together or calling each other, so texting, just something little. A small win, I guess, in a relationship is a feel-good moment, an authentic feel-good moment. Or maybe it's been difficult to talk about difficult topics, and a small win could be that you set aside time to talk about something, or that you actually had a conversation about something that you've been putting off. I use this analogy. If I have a pain in my arm, I don't need someone to tell me that my arm hurts. Like, I know it hurts. I'm aware of it. And it's easier to be aware of negative stuff than it is positive stuff, unless you think intentionally. You might have to be reminded, oh, my arm doesn't hurt anymore. That's a positive. But paying attention to the positives, however big or small they are. So those small wins, if you don't celebrate the small stuff, it could be, I think we have to be intentional about looking for those things, looking for the positives, rather than just experiencing the negatives, which we don't have to look for. They just show up, or we sense them right away. So that's a small win, is just noticing those positives, whatever that means for you.
One of the things too, I'm very mindful of is that there are things that I will do all the time, doing the laundry, doing the dishes, doing this, feeding the dog, whatever. But when my husband maybe gets to the coffee pot first or pulls the food out for the dog, I'm very intentional about thanking him and making sure, oh, babe, thanks for doing that. It really was very helpful. And that to me can be a huge win to the person who's receiving that appreciation. But if you can just manage to drop little things like that in your day, I never want anything that I do in my relationship to just be out of habit. So making sure you tell somebody you appreciate them or that you love them. I definitely think celebrating small wins is very, very powerful. If you're listening to this and you're going through a divorce and it's just you right now, celebrating the wins in your own life, celebrating the fact that you were able to go half the day without thinking about you're going through a divorce, or maybe you got up and got out of your pajamas sooner today than you did the day before. Make sure you are celebrating your wins because they do add up. And the next one I'm going to throw over to you because I want to get your perspective on this one. It's challenging black and white thinking. Let's talk about that.
I think it's important. There are plenty of things that are bad, and no matter how you spin it, they're bad, and plenty of things that are good. But black and white thinking is really, things aren't necessarily always as they may appear initially. That maybe expanding what you think about something, maybe it's seeing a silver lining in a cloud versus, I don't know who said this, but I heard this too, that some people think every silver lining has a cloud versus every cloud has a silver lining. But challenging black and white thinking, opening up your mind, maybe to think of how other people can see things or other ways of looking at things. Again, let's say if you're in a relationship and your partner or someone in your relationship, in your family, says something that you really disagree with or does something that you really disagree with, it's also important to listen. What was their purpose? Why did they rather than saying that was awful, or can't think of a specific example right now, but rather than thinking that was just bad, ask them what was going on? What made you decide to do something like this? So it's challenging those kinds of the black and white thinking. It was good or bad, it was wrong or right. And again, there are plenty of things that are wrong, plenty of things that we know. But it's also important to be able to open your mind, I think, and to be open to at least hearing about what other people's experiences and perspectives are. That doesn't mean you have to agree, but at least be a little more open-minded to challenging those thoughts that may be black or white, just one way or another. I know you and I work a lot in the gray areas between the black and the white. I live very much in a gray world where there's so much that's not just black or white. It's that sort of thing, opening your mind up to the possibility that there's a lot in between. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes.
And while we're talking about things that we're going to challenge in relationships, I also want to challenge when people get caught in this negative thought loop and these negative patterns. I do a lot of affirmations.
Yep.
A ton of affirmations, and help clients rewrite the thoughts as they're coming in. It's a technique. It takes a little bit of time to do it, but you can do it literally as you're thinking something, learn how to rewrite it. But in a relationship, when you find yourself getting caught in that, what does that look like? Is it where you're looking at it from a partner perspective where you're getting caught up in this thought pattern between the two of you, or is this more of what you're internalizing is happening? And is it really happening or not?
It could be both. I know in one of our episodes, we talked about attachment style. And there's an anxious attachment style where the person is generally worried that the other person is going to abandon them, leave, neglect them somehow. And that might not be reflective of the reality. It might be their own fears versus what really is going on. So the negative thought process could be, if you're in, let's say, having an argument with your spouse, someone might automatically go to, that person is upset with me and he's going to leave or she's going to leave. That's the fear that is activated. So challenging those thoughts would be something along the lines of, okay, this is my default thinking. I will be aware of this. For me to tell myself, don't think that that's not going to work. Accept that this is what I'm thinking. Yet in therapy or sessions that I have, I call them add-ons. You think what you think, okay? But if you end on a negative thought, then you just end on that you're just in a negative place. I encourage people often to add on something that might be more of a positive but realistic option as well, right? So rather than thinking, wow, my partner's going to leave or it's going to be so upset with me and how am I going to make this work? And maybe we can talk this through. And it's possible. It's possible that the bad things will happen. But there's also a chance, again, it has to be sincere, has to be authentic. There's also a chance that better things will happen too. Just getting stuck in the negative will keep you in the negative. Be aware of when you think of the negative stuff, because that you automatically think that or you think that. Also add on to it a realistic possibility, because it helps to balance. And that's the doorway to the discussion about black or white thinking or the negative looping. That's like the exit off the highway. Hopefully you can get on that exit ramp, but that again is intentional. So add on to whatever negative stuff you're thinking about or experiencing. That's real, and the fear is and the concerns are real, but it doesn't always have to end as the negative. You can add on a potential positive, and you can focus some energy on that as well. Again, that just sort of like a tea kettle, it lets some of the pressure out. What do you think?
I know in one of our episodes not that long ago, we were talking about the power of just being self-aware. And I think, like, to your point, if you know that you're going to react this way, or back to regulating your nervous system, if you're a person who's just, I don't like confrontation, I'm going to go in the opposite direction. If you're aware of it, challenge yourself. There's nothing wrong with challenging ourselves. I challenge myself all of the time. And when you challenge yourself, you're going to figure it out. If you want it bad enough, you're going to figure it out. If you want to be able to be in a relationship where you can have conversations, work through things, come to compromise. If this is a relationship you really care about and that has a lot of value for you, you're going to try to sit down and force yourself, maybe even outside of your comfort zone, to have those conversations or understand their way of thinking. I have a client that gets caught in patterns all the time. She goes and she has a great event, super talented, really successful. You leave her the first minute by herself and she is right back down into, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve to be successful. She's aware of it.
Yeah.
And she will call me and she will say, I did it again.
Yeah.
I caught myself doing it again, but she catches herself. Same thing about rewiring that negative loop, breaking that cycle, or changing the negative thoughts as they come in. Self-awareness is very powerful. And I think just as powerful as being resilient is, but if you can look at all the things that we talked about, really understanding who you are in the relationship and understanding who you are as a person is a very confident place that you can be. As we wrap up today, if somebody is listening to this and they're saying, I get everything that you're talking about, like, really need to get myself in check and regulate my nervous system and celebrate small wins, which are super important, and then challenging black and white thinking and just negative patterns that they have in their life. If you had to give a baby step to start working in the direction to really start feeling more resilient in what they're going through in the relationship, is there anything you could give them to say, just start right here?
Start with thinking about what's possible. I work in that realm of what's possible. I don't believe everything is possible, but a lot of things are. So even before you know what it may be, or those things may be, believing that there may be more things possible that are possible than you had originally thought. So start with believing, trying to believe that there may be things that are possible that you haven't thought about. That's, I think, the first step. And then you move to the next one as far as awareness and all those things beyond awareness, but working on that resilience and adaptability. But think about what is possible in a lot of areas in my life. That could be helpful.
And that's a great place to start. And the reason we decided to do this, I don't even know what episode we're on now, but we decided to do it a while ago, is because we want not only to have conversations that get your mind moving, but also just to normalize the conversations that you're not the only person that's going through this.
Everybody does.
Thing in a relationship, in a divorce, in a separation. We want to make sure that you're aware of the fact that you're not alone and that you have two people who come on here weekly to be here to support you and to let you know that there are resources out there. If you need somebody to talk to, you need somebody to help you, if you need somebody just to vent or cry with or whatever it is, you just know that we're here for you. And as always, it's always a great conversation when I get to see you. Thank you so much for joining me today and for all of you for watching. And
Thank
we will be back next week with another episode of Divorce and Relationships Decoded. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
That's a wrap for this episode of Divorce and Relationships Decoded. We hope you found today's discussion insightful and empowering. If this conversation resonated with you, we'd love for you to share it with someone who might need to hear this message. Remember, healing, growth, and transformation happens one conversation at a time. If you have a question, a story, or a topic you'd love for us to explore, we'd love to hear from you. Drop us a note at questions@drdecoded.com. Your thoughts and experiences are always welcome here. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week for another insightful episode of Divorce and Relationships Decoded. Until then, take care and keep moving forward.